The boy in front of me told the nurse with a pained expression that his condition was serious and that he needed to see a doctor immediately. The nurse simply said, "Wait for your number to be called," and sent the boy away. Little did she know that this would cause chaos in the hospital. When the boy tried to ask about the progress again, his face had turned as pale as paper. He collapsed on the floor before he could reach the front desk. The nurse panicked and called for help. He was rushed to the emergency room through the emergency. From his clothes, an identification boarding pass. However, Dr. Bruce merely glanced at the information and immediately ordered everyone to stop and stay away from the patient, requiring them to put on masks. He then immediately called the medical director, Max. The boy was from Africa and exhibited symptoms consistent with Ebola virus infection. They transferred the boy to an isolation ward and immediately notified the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Now, all medical staff entering or exiting must wear all protective gear and must confirm the diagnosis as quickly as possible, whether the boy was infected with the Ebola virus. Before the test results came out, the FBI had already come knocking. They received information through the CDC that terrorists had transported an Ebola virus patient from Libya to New York, and the hospital had just admitted such a patient. It wasn't hard to guess that the boy was the terrorist suspect. They wanted to take him away. After questioning, a man named Ian told the boy he could make a lot of money selling goods in New York. As long as he shared a portion of the profits, Ian would provide him with supplies, round-trip plane tickets, and a travel vaccine before departure. However, the boy felt severely ill as soon as he got off the plane, so he hailed a taxi and came to the hospital. Dr. Max asked the boy why he came to this hospital. The boy said it was the only American hospital he had heard of. Dr. Max immediately said the boy had been deceived and someone had injected a virus into his bloodstream. If he were truly a terrorist, he wouldn't have come to the hospital for treatment. Instead, he could have infected the entire city at Times Square. It was clear that the boy had been injected with something without his knowledge. She successfully persuaded the FBI agents to keep the boy in the hospital for treatment. However, the boy's condition soon took a turn for the worse. He suddenly began coughing up blood. Dr. Brew immediately put on protective gear and prepared to go in to rescue him, but the boy's condition was serious and he was still coughing up blood. It looked like he was about to die. While putting on her protective gear, she loudly told the boy where the oxygen mask was and told him to go get it himself. The boy struggled to turn over, but before he could get the mask, he fainted and rolled off the bed. In a panic, Dr. Blue didn't have time to put on her protective helmet, but instead just put on a mask and rushed in despite everyone's protests. She immediately administered oxygen to the boy. Max, the medical director, also rushed over. Seeing the boy's heart rate continuing to drop, he instructed Dr. Blue to administer adrenaline first. Perhaps due to the urgency of the situation, Dr. Blue was a bit flustered, rummaging through several drawers before finding the adrenaline. Fortunately, after administering the adrenaline, the boy's heart rate finally returned to normal. Dr. Blue just let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Max told Dr. Bruce that her gloves had torn and her skin had been contaminated with the boy's blood. As we know, the Ebola virus is transmitted through blood and has a mortality rate of 90%. Dr. Bruce was immediately placed in isolation. Does she regret it? She doesn't know. She feels lost. But at the time, she only wanted to save the boy. Now she can only wait for the results of the blood test. A full day later, federal investigators returned to the hospital. They had successfully apprehended the terrorists, and after their investigation, the terrorists had mistakenly injected the boy with Lassa virus instead of Ebola, so the boy only had Lassa virus in his body. Though equally dangerous, it could be treated. A thunderous round of applause erupted at the scene, paying tribute to this brave and admirable warrior.